So Trump is our enemy. I told you. Reagan's the one that turned all police into militarized police, soldiers, MPs. Ronald Reagan did it. You can look it up. And it had a limit. When the president was out, I guess, they were no longer militarized. So every president after Ronald Reagan that came in had to remilitarize them, re-sign that bill to remilitarize them. So we have military police on our streets. They're militarized. That's why they get to have tanks and weapons of war and all of that. I mean, to go to war against guns, to go to war against drugs, to go to war against this, war. We got to have soldiers. Soldiers go to fighting wars, not police or the peace officers. Not regular police that's not militarized. They're not to go to war. They're supposed to be there just to keep the peace, make sure everybody just behave. And not to make up stuff and look, you look suspicious and all this stuff. The Lieber Code that gives the military the right to confiscate people's property without a warrant. As a legal entity, they don't need a warrant. The warrants and all this stuff is created for natural people, real human beings. To protect real human beings. It's not there to protect the legal person as a human being. So if you want to be a legal person, you want to have a state-created ID, a state-created driver license with the state-created entity and say, I'm that entity, I'm that legal person, well, then you got to write up and create affidavits that pertains to the legal person. If you want to live in that. If you want to live in statism, socialism, democracy, fascism, majority rules, well, then you go live in that. I'll create my own affidavits for agorism, the natural person, common law, my obedience to God, and allegiance to God, not to some state or some man that's imaginary, which takes man to control me, to judge me, or whatever. The state can't do none of that. The state can't do anything. It's imaginary. The legal entity is imaginary. That's not you. That's not me. The state created it. Not my parents, not God. And then says this is, you two, you're two, in one. No, I'm going to be one. And that's to have an obedience and allegiance to God. Or I am. Everybody says God. We're supposed to say I am. In the Bible, God's name is I am. And you look that up too. But also it states somewhere in the Bible that we're not even supposed to say God's name or the Father's name. So, I don't know. You have to do more research on that. But, yeah, I mean, it does. It's supposed to state in the Bible, you're not even supposed to say the Father's name. Because he's our Father. We call him Father. That's why when we have a natural parent, or a natural father, mother, we can't call them by their name. We're not to know their name. Because their name to us is mother and father. That's it. So we're not to say their name. They will tell you. If you say their name, they'll get mad. You don't say, God's name or the Father's name. It's Father. It's not even God. It's Father. I am and Father. Those are actually his two names. And to us, it's Father. So when I can say my Father, when I'm talking about, the one that's called I am, that's who I'm talking about. It's my natural father. I'll just have to say my natural father. My human father. Because we have a spiritual father, and then we got a regular human father and mother and whatever. So, but yeah, Trump's our enemy. He remilitarized the police. You don't do that. He re-signed the Patriot Act. Nobody's talking about that. I guarantee you, he re-signed it after he got it. Right after he got in, he re-signed all of that. Here, you got to re-sign these, and the public ain't told. There are things we're not told about. Trump keeps things secret. Trump's not transparent. Trump's not an angel. He's not a man of God. He wasn't sent to us by God. He lies, he deceives, he manipulates, he tells the truth. Oh, I could shoot someone and, they still love me. And he's having people shot in other countries. That's innocent kids, children blown up and all this. Instead of doing it the right way. He's not for the right way. He's a warmonger. In my opinion, Donald Trump is a terroristic warmonger. We don't need to be in Venezuela. That's none of our business. If those two countries want to fight, if one country wants to invade another country and fight it out, so be it. If that country asks us to help them, I mean literally, not they're telling us, they're asking us, we're actually forcing ourselves there just to do it, just to be the police of the world. We're not supposed to be the police of the whole world. Militarized policing. That's what it is. It's militarized policing of the whole world. That's what the government is. It's militarized policing under in a city in the city of Washington, because that's where that city government resides, in the city of Washington, and that's where everything is ran from. That's their base. That's their home base. Oh, I didn't finish reading it because I had to get into this when I found out that Trump remilitarized the police. I didn't finish reading it. I also put at the last thing, plus, why are there maps of the city of Washington, D.C. are showing, or that puts the city of Washington, D.C. out in the sea as if it is separate from the U.S. of A., as if it is foreign to America. Eventually, it's just going to have to give it to me. A regular human being can sit there and just lie, not tell you the truth. This has to eventually. You give it what it needs, you put it in that spot, and it has to. Well, yeah, then you're right. Can't argue. You got too much that I can't argue. It don't get to call you names. It don't get to say you're stubborn, oh, you're stupid, oh, you're dumb. Nope. It's just a intelligent conversation to get it to admit what it should admit right off. It should be able to go in and every information on everything, it should be able to pull up everything that's there. Everything is there. But it's programmed not to work that way, so people can't find out what they want to find out, need to find out, and the real truth to find out, unless they know stuff, hear stuff, reads books, does research, and then puts that information into it that it's not giving you, and then okay, yes, you're right, or yes, that's correct, or whatever. I had to keep doing it with in this other with the legal name till finally with the right stuff, and I had to look it up and everything and put it in there, and it, oh yes, you're correct, you know. Yep. I could stop right here. I believe 95% of everything, over 90%. I've got a bunch of stuff. And all it can give me like I want is facts, evidence, truth, logic, and common sense. That's it. That's all I want that you can pull up. No excuses that's put in or that it's found, you know, or suspicions or assumptions or presumptions or any of that. Now, if you want that in it, like you want to create something that has all those in it to say, well, also bring up the excuses and the assumptions, the presumptions, and the manipulations that they gave to the people to get the people to be for each and every bit of that. Describe why, you know, why they wanted it and all this, you know, everything. And you could possibly create a book out of it all. If I had a computer, I'd gather everything from all this, put it all in one page, and then say, okay, out of all of this, in order, create me an exact example in book form, with everything that the book is supposed to have. And it'll do it that way. And then you can print all that out in book form, take it, and depending on how much money you want to spend, hardback or softback, you know, paperback. For the, you know, top and bottom, first one you open, bottom one protects, you know, that protects all the pages. And because hardback's expensive, it's more, it's thicker, but it depends on how thick you want it, I guess. I don't know. But paperback, I would have mine on paperback if I was to create a book or have one created. And then, I mean, I would just go straight and I'd just say, I need this all put on paperback. No changes. And it would be agorism versus statism. That's the way I would do it. You know, half and half. Agorism versus statism. And it would show how statism was created in this country. You know, first would be probably the agorism, the way, you know, it was all created to be. And then the incorporatization of the United States government, Washington, the city of Washington, D.C., and all the 50 states. Well, gradually up to 50 states. But all the states there were then were all incorporatized. Created the all caps name and the social security number to incorporatize us too. When they didn't tell us when we buy it. They don't tell us on purpose. When we go and we pay to get that ID or that driver license, oh, by the way, that's not you. So don't ever tell the cops that that's you. That's just there for them to use to create a record. And nothing happens to you. They get that, and everything's put on the record, and they go send it to whatever, and then they're supposed to all deal with it. Not me, not you, not, you know. That's not us. No, there's a guy in Canada that does that. I was subbed to him, but I guess I got unsubbed from him. And so I don't even remember the name of his page, what he looks like. And he does it, and then now when he gets pulled over and he goes to hand that card to him, the cop looks at it, and then he looks at the guy, and he goes, "Is this you?" He goes, "That ain't me. I'm not that card." "Okay." And he goes, does whatever, and then gives him his driver license back, or that driver license back, because you're paying to hold it. So you can go to work and all this other stuff. But there's still a loophole. You can go to work and everything at these businesses without any of that. They just don't know it. You get one of those W-2 forms that they give you, and you sit there, and on the signature line, I would put non-assumpsit, and then right above it, without prejudice. And then check the little box beside that has the word exempt beside it. Non-assumpsit means I don't consent. I don't agree to being taxed. And then you have the without prejudice that kind of, you're not being disrespectful. They don't take it in a disrespectful way or try to come back at you. This stuff works. People does it, some, not many, because most people don't believe it. And most people are too scared to try it because they think they'll get in all kinds of trouble, and they'll wait to see if you do. But most time, you ain't going to get in trouble. They're going to maybe try. But if you stand your ground, and especially if they take you into court, objection, all hearsay, I don't consent, non-assumpsit. When you go in, you sign something. Nope, non-assumpsit, without prejudice. You don't put your name. Never put your name. Never say that's you. No, I'm here to represent that name, or to bring you that name to you. But that's not me. Non-assumpsit, without prejudice. I don't consent to that being me. I don't consent to taking or being a part in being punished to right along with that entity that's not me, that you are to deal with. That's what they're to deal with, that entity, not you. When they say, "Give me that driver's license, ID," that's what they need to deal with, not you. They need to deal with you. They wouldn't really need that ID. And they got a name on the license plate back there. When they read it, a name pops up. "Well, I need your name." You got a name. Write the ticket. You got a name. Write the ticket for the name you got on your computer when you ran those plates. You already got a name. "Well, I need your name." No, you don't. You only need the name that's attached to this property that you got. And registration's fine. Oh, it shows it's got insurance, But, they'll have something. They ain't ignorant of anything. When they run those plates, they have everything. It's name, address, everything that has been given to them. If you was ever arrested and given them everything they wanted. Oh, by the way, U.S. Supreme Court just ruled, when you go in and you get your passport, you don't have to bring a birth certificate. You don't have to bring an ID or a driver's license or your social security number. You don't have to have an LNV or LNB, whatever that is. So when you go in there and you get that paper, and you can put whatever name you want on there, and I'm a state citizen, you're because you don't have to have any identification to make, so they can make sure that what you put there as your name is your legal name, what they call, with that surname, the last name. Because that last name is what it was used to create the legal name. That last name's the only one that ties you to the legal name. So if you put it up there, like I said in another video, brackets in front of and behind your last name. You put your last name in brackets. That means you know something's up with that last name. You don't really consent to it. You're questioning it. But your regular given name your parents gave you, one or two, which you would call your first and middle name, if you got both, or if you got a third, that's your given names. You can use any of them as your first name. You don't have a last name. Your parents didn't say, I'm going to call you Nathan this. You know, Kelly this for the last name. It's just attached. What the surname your parents have that has been turned into an incorporated name that turned your parents into an incorporated business. Two businesses got together and they used a marriage license, which is a corporatized marriage license, to bring them two businesses together. And then that ties your child with that incorporated last name to a corporation. You've corporatized your child. And so, states, constitutions, and laws don't apply to you. You're a U.S. citizen first. All of it turns you into a U.S. citizen, the birth certificate, everything. You're not a state citizen. It may say you was born in a state or whatever, but you're actually a U.S. citizen first. So, the Constitution and everything of the United States government applies to you as a U.S. citizen. So if you was a state citizen instead through the passport, then they can't touch you. You're not in their jurisdiction. You're not a U.S. citizen. You're back to a natural state citizen if you do it the right way, to make sure you're not placing yourself into the incorporated state of whatever state you're in, X. But we're all figuring it out. I'm just about there. If I have to, I'll get a passport. And now, I know I don't need a social security number to give them. I don't need a, what was that other? Well, I'll forget. But I don't need none of that. You just walk in there, fill one out, or take it home, fill it out, walk in there. You know, it's cheaper to get a photo at one of the pharmacies than at the post office. You tell them what the picture has to be for, and they'll get you a picture for that, your passport, and then you take it over there, you hand it all to them, and they fix it up, and then you're a state citizen, you're a national. Look up national versus U.S. citizen. You're not a U.S. citizen unless you sign stuff and then declare you're a U.S. citizen. And then you're a U.S. citizen. I choose not to be. I don't want to be in their jurisdiction. I don't want to be harassed all day, every day, worried about looking at, them cops going to harass me today. I can get plates as exempt. When they run them, it says exempt from registration and all this. Okay, they go on. They might look at you. Yeah, you. That's a good one. You got smart on that. Not enough people getting smart on that. We don't need driver license. If you're not making money with your property, you can walk in there and cancel everything and then get exempt plates. I'm not using my property for profit. I need exempt plates. Maybe you still have to title it to get the exempt plates, because that's what plates they make. You got to have a title. They really don't want you making your own plates. But they do have a way for non-profit vehicles to be on the road without driver license and registration. I gotta get that all pulled up and make sure. So that's what it sounds like to me. So you all take care. Bye.